Hello. Gotta get the gimbal set up here. Boom. What's up, y'all? Welcome to the... Is that Disney enough right there? I got enough Disney vibes, that background? What's up, Spencer? How you doing, man? What's up, guys? I got a beer. I haven't put anything up on this YouTube channel in about a week and who knows, 5 days or something. As you can see, I'm in total caveman mode. As far as I haven't shaved, I haven't cut my hair because nobody will cut my hair. What's up, y'all? No new chair. I'm just sitting here on the ground. I saw PewDiePie's been filming his videos on the ground, so he filmed a couple videos on the ground. What's up, Daisy? How you doing? Teresa, Kelly, Alicia, Spencer, Sam, Tanya, Menu. What's up, guys? How you doing? I haven't been live on this channel or done anything on this channel in about a week and maybe coming up on 2 weeks now. I have never been more ready for anything in my entire life, ever, than I am for Walt Disney World to open back up. I am so beyond bored as hell. It's insane. It's insane how bored I am. It's like next level bored. I just been like watching bullcrap and playing Assassin's Creed. That's all I've been doing. Hi, I missed you too, pal. It was good hanging out. We all hung out on Tanya's channel on Saturday night. We all went live. I've been drinking. Every day I've been drinking. It's just a drinking kind of thing. So, I have no idea when Disney World's going to open back up. But like the state of limbo that I feel like I'm in right now it's outrageous. It's like next level. I mean, luckily, like there's so much I'm going to be coming back to. I've got some really cool things planned. Yeah, so, but I feel bad because I haven't put up any videos, so. My apologies, everybody. There's been no content on the channel. I just don't like going back and like some of this stuff is just ancient. This footage is ancient. I feel ridiculous editing a Mickey's Not So Scary vlog when like we're like months away from the season starting all over again. But I've got a lot of footage, lots and lots of footage. The editing process is just a beast, you know? It can really take its toll. And I did it for like, I should have taken all those videos that I pumped out over the 2 weeks and I should have just like uploaded those every couple days. That would have been a much better idea. I don't like the part of being like it makes me miss being in Disney. That's my biggest issue is that I'm just like, why do I want to watch this stuff of me being in Disney having the time of my life when I'm like I can't be there. It's driving me crazy. So Disney Plus has been a good hit, man. Let me tell you. I've watched a lot of stuff on Disney Plus. I watched Zootopia, which I think I've only ever seen one time. That is a good movie, man. Seriously good movie. Erica's in the house. What's up, Erica? Big Al's in the house. There was blood on the saddle. Blood all around. And a big, big puddle of blood on the ground. What's up, Big Al? I miss you, man. Have I noticed that as Zootropolis? I did not. There's a funny, you know what, man? Thank God for SNL. I've been watching more SNL than you could wrap your head around. And I forget how many like Disney related sketches there are. There's one about Zoopolis. Holy shit, it is so funny. So funny. Like really, really good. Um yeah. Oh yeah, I've been staying hydrated. I've been drinking a lot of water, which has actually been a problem. It's been the thing that keeps me going to the grocery store more than anything. Is I realized that like a great investment for me whenever I get my own place or a house, I need a refrigerator that has an ice and water dispenser, and I would save myself time and money like it was going out of style. What's up, Amy? What's up, Ivan? How are you guys doing? Ivan the Traveler. Ivan. Such a cool name. Really hit a wall with the MCU stuff because I just do not want to buy any of these movies, man. But I think I gotta just suck it up. And then every time I'm like, oh, I'll buy this movie, then I'm like, oh, it's gonna take this long to download, and Assassin's Creed is just my full attention right now. I am literally, without Assassin's Creed, I would be so beyond bored. Like, I can't really, I got up to Homecoming, and Homecoming is not on Disney Plus, so I'd have to buy Homecoming. And then Infinity War is not on Disney Plus, I'd have to buy Infinity War. Then I could watch, and then I need Ant-Man and the Wasp. There's like 5 movies I'd have to buy to finish the MCU, which is just crazy. And then like I have so many other things going on. Like I got the box set of The Lord of the Rings. So guys, starting on Thursday, we're going to start this. So if you're somebody that wants to join in on the Lord of the Rings rewatch with a guy that has a Smaug the Dragon tattoo and knows more about Tolkien than anybody you know, we can all rewatch The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. These are the extended editions, so you'll have to either own these or rent these. Nick, what's up? Loving the things you're doing on Instagram lately. So we're going to be rewatching this. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do it yet. I think I'm going to... This is going to be a long stream. To watch those Hobbit movies back to back, it's like 14 hours. So it's going to be a long stream. And like the thing is that I can show like 10 seconds at a time of clips from the movies, like as we go, but I can't edit it. So like I would have to be super, like we would have to pause a scene and like I would have to run it back and like frame by frame, like we could discuss it. And that would take even longer. So I'm really trying to figure out how to do this. How do you do, even the biggest channels I've ever seen do these, like sit down and watch a movie with me, there's nothing on the screen. It's just them, you know? You just have their commentary as you personally have it playing on some other device or another page. So, if you're into it, we're going to start doing this. I'm not sure how I want to do it. So those movies are on Netflix from the MCU. Not Spider-Man though, right? If Spider-Man Homecoming or Far From Home is on Netflix, I will re-sign up for Netflix when this live stream is over. I could do that just to get Infinity War and Ant-Man and the Wasp out of the way. But yeah, this is a big one. This is going to be huge. This is a... And let me tell you something, this new computer that I have, I've never been able to watch things in 4K before. Because, like, even when you have a 4K TV, if that's just hooked up to, say, like, your cable box, you've never seen anything in 4K. You know what I mean? And even if it's hooked up to a computer that's not super good, you're not getting, like, true 4K. This thing with this giant video card in it, I was watching things in 4K the other day. My mind was blown blown at the resolution. Like, the things that you could see in the video were just unbelievable. And in general, it's been just a good TV for everything. 1080, 4K, all of it. L, what's up? How you doing? Guys, make sure you're smashing the like button when you're joining in here. We did somehow manage to get 100 likes on the last live stream, so that was cool. I went for a lot longer that night than I am tonight. I've been watching the daily coronavirus press briefings from the White House and Governor Cuomo's daily press briefing summaries. I haven't been watching those in full because I don't have that kind of time, but I have been devoting my full 2 hours a day to watching the entire White House press briefings on coronavirus, from the task force, the president, the vice president, the Treasury Secretary, the everybody, Dr. Fauci, Dr. Birx. It's been I've been encouraged, I don't know whatever side of the political fence you fall on, doesn't really matter. Even if you hate Donald Trump and you think he's like a Mussolini or something, if you think he's like a Hitler, that guy, I can see like the anxiousness in his demeanor, the way he's been talking the past few days. Like, he's ready to get the country back open big time, which is, in my opinion, that's great. I'm ready for it. I think that a huge thing that's been taken from us in this is like our civil liberties. It's literally like the government's not our parents, you know what I mean? The state, the federal government, like, yeah, there are laws. As citizens, we all have to abide by laws. There are things that you can and cannot do, which makes sense, right? But our civil liberties of like, so here's a great example, and it's not something that you would want to ever think about, right? But if they shut down public schools because of the nonstop threat of mass shootings that primarily happen in and around schools, then the civil liberties of everybody are pretty much taken away. You could get scared enough from that kind of stuff that you would homeschool your kids, that you would move your kids to a different school district, you would move your family. There are precautionary measures that you could take, but your civil liberties aren't taken away. Like, you still can send your kids to school, even though there's this huge risk that something could happen. You're still allowed to do it if you choose to do it. The same thing it should apply universally. Like, I constantly go back, and I've been saying this a lot to different people. I think about that week, in February, coronavirus was beginning to run its course in the United States. We knew that it was here. We knew, we had seen what happened in China. We had seen what had just literally happened a week before in Italy and Spain, before the parks closed. A week before the parks closed, there were bodies piled up in Italian churches. And it didn't scare, and I'm sure that there were some people that scared them to a point where they did not go to the parks that week. They did not do what I did, go to the resorts a couple times the next week. They didn't try to squeeze every last bit out of it. There are some people who probably were not going to Disney because of the fear of catching coronavirus. Now that, so in comparison to a lot of other diseases and the predictions for coronavirus, we've come in underneath with numbers. Like, the fear is really beginning to fade away, I think. So when the government tells you, and your state government tells you that, hey, you have to stay inside, you can't go outside, because if you go outside, more people are going to catch this disease. In my head, a true like democracy would be, okay, there's a disease outside. I get to choose whether I open my door and go out and face it. And when I go out and face it, how I choose to do that, i.e. masks, gloves, suits, everything. You know? You could choose that. There are some people, and this is a civil liberty of the United States, there are some people who bring a gun everywhere they go. They're strapped all the time. That is a civil liberty of that person because they feel a way about the world that's a necessity. Now, I don't feel that way about the world. The world's not scary enough to me, personally. The world's not a scary enough place that I feel like I have to prepare myself to leave my house every day. London calling. Well, how's that? Give me some lyrics, bro, to London Calling so I can try to run it in my head, but without having to Google it. Damn, that's a good song. I feel, I'm happy that your prime minister's out of the hospital, bro. That scared the shit out of me. When I saw that Boris Johnson went into the ICU, I was like, damn, is he going to be the first, like, world leader that, like, succumbs to coronavirus? That would have been tragic, because that guy's got approval ratings in his country that are, like, unheard of around here. Unheard of. My big problem that I'm having lately... Hi, Amy. How you doing? AJC Magic TV. The big problem I'm having lately is I'm so sick of the media. I'm so utterly sick of the media. I don't know if you guys... Again, if you don't watch the press briefings every day, if you're not a guy that, you know, a person that has watched the president speak, you know, throughout not only his presidency, but his primaries, the election. This idiot in my neighborhood with that bike, he goes up my hill like 100 miles an hour. I can't play Switch, Weston. I don't have a Switch, bro. I'm so sorry. I just have Xbox and PC. Our boss is doing a fab job. I think he scared everyone. Glad he's doing well with his partner and unborn baby. Exactly. I forgot to mention that he has a family. You know what I mean? Like as you said, an unborn child. So the media is driving me crazy. If you guys know how the president speaks, he is not the most articulate guy. He can jump all over the place sometimes, but if you pay attention, you can always hear the through line of what he's saying. So when I'm watching this yesterday and they pull up Donald Trump, president, does his thing, they pull him off, and then instantly he's like, we have something, we need to get the Treasury Secretary out of here. There are negotiations that need to happen. We're going to get him out of here, so I want you guys to ask him his questions now. If you have questions for him, the Treasury Secretary, there's a plethora of questions you can talk to this guy about. Okay, you can talk about the small business loans, you can talk about the Paycheck Protection Act, you can talk about unemployment, you can talk about where this money is even coming from, how the Fed's keeping up with printing, well, how does that affect our dollar? So many things to talk to this guy about. I think they got 2-3 questions in with the guy, and it was like, President Trump, could you please talk on, and he bit a little bit, he bit, and then they pulled him back in, and the next thing you know, this guy's just standing there. At one point, Donald Trump was off camera, off mic, answering a question while the focus of every live stream from Time Magazine to CNN to Fox was focused in on the Treasury Secretary. It was a hack job. And I'm just thinking about the media, like, this guy, he's been up here for 2 hours every single day. He's going to be up here for 2 hours tomorrow. And you don't have any questions for the Treasury Secretary? You got nothing? All you want to do is just harp on this bullcrap? So they push him, and the next thing you know, and I don't want to I'm sure you've all seen the news today. Like, oh, Donald Trump says he has total authority as president of the United States. The way that he said it, I was instantly like, the media is just gonna rip this, twist this, try to scare you with this. He was saying that in a state of national emergency, which we are in, the president's power is pretty much total. And it's a true statement if you look throughout history. In wartime, pandemic time, in times of national crisis, whether it be national disaster, etc., the president's power is. And now here's the thing: Donald Trump is not a constitutional or any type of lawyer. And, believe it or not, neither are any of the journalists in those rooms. They all graduated, they're all just people. And they're just like the most ignorant. I can't believe how little the president really kind of freaks out on these people. Like, I was not surprised to see him get a little pushy yesterday. And I'm really, I kind of thank the media in a lot of ways, because they create what is Donald Trump. It's the reason that from the day he rode down the escalator and announced that he was going to run for president, like, I knew he was going to win. The media creates him. They want you to hate him so much that people will automatically, like, think the opposite. It's like when your parents tell you not to do something. You're like, oh, why not? You know? So if every media outlet for the next, let's say it's 3, 4, 5 days until the president declares when the country's opening back up and how it's opening back up, the media is going to keep harping the same story. Like, is Donald Trump, a bad person for wanting to reopen the economy and putting your life at risk to coronavirus? That's the story that they're going to try to say, they're going to try to spin to you. And there are going to be so many people who are, like, pissed off that they'll be on board. They'll want to get back to work. They'll want to prove the media wrong, that opening the country up was the right thing to do. Just the same way that he won the election. I have still not watched Tiger King, so I don't know anything about Joe Exotic. Great. I'm so happy. I'm sure he's talking about that stuff right now. I'm very bummed. This shit was supposed to start at 5 o'clock. It started way late tonight. So I'm streaming over it, which I wouldn't want to really do because I'm personally interested in it, but I can watch it back here in a little bit. But that doesn't surprise me. You know what I mean? The WHO was, like, so under, you know what I mean? China, like, all this underreporting, We'll never, ever, 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 ever know how many people died, caught, hospitalized from top to bottom. We'll never get the numbers out of China. Ever. We'll never, ever get the numbers out of China. It makes me sad. I was talking to my buddy about this yesterday. I've been alive. I'm 31 years old now. I'm an old man. I'm an old fart. This year I'm going to be 32. I've lived through, technically, his father, George Bush, Herbert. It's George Bush. Is it Herbert? Is the first one George Herbert Bush? The first George Bush was technically the president when I was a baby. He was elected in 1988, or maybe re-elected, but that was an election year that he won in 1988, which was the year I was born. Yeah, Herbert. So, he didn't affect my life. I was a baby. I don't remember him. I don't remember anything. But I absolutely remember Bill Clinton. I remember when all that stuff happened with Monica Lewinsky lying under oath. It was something that as a kid intrigued me so much, you know? You're like brought up to think like the president is the best guy. Like the president, oh my God, what do you want to be when you grow up, Billy? I want to be the president. You know, like the president, like I was a kid, so my parents wouldn't tell me too much, but I got my hands on the clicker every once in a while and I watched stuff I probably shouldn't have watched, you know, and I realized what was going on. I was like, damn, like this guy, you know, this oral sex in the Oval Office, and I'm like, ooh, you know, whatever the hell that is. I know like sex is like adult stuff, and I'm like, it's, you know, stuff your parents don't want to talk to you about, so it's bad. I remember thinking like a bad guy is the president. I remember thinking that as a child, like, wow, like the president's a bad dude. Then when I was in middle school, George George Walker Bush, strategery. Coalition of the willing. You know, he was, my parents, my family, all very lefty. Way more lefty than I am. You know, I'm way more center than pretty much anybody I know. Lefties all the way. I remember, and Saturday Night Live has been a big part of my life forever. I remember Will Ferrell as George Walker Bush, like how they made fun of him all the time. And I was like, damn, like the president's like a dumb guy that nobody likes. You know, like I just went from having a president that was a bad guy because of sex stuff. And now I have a president that's like an idiot. Like, they made movies about how bad of a president he was. Michael Moore, like all those like Bowling for Columbine stuff and like Fahrenheit 9/11 and like, I was just like, damn, like there are people out here making this dude look like an idiot. And then, you know, obviously 9/11 happened. And the war happened, and the deficit happened. The recession happened. And it was all George Bush's fault. All George Bush and Dick Cheney. It was their fault that the country was where it was. We had to get out of this place. We had to elect somebody who was going to change everything. Hope and change, right? Incoming, I'm in college now. Which is pretty crazy to think. That's how long somebody's president for. I'm in college now, and we elect Barack Obama. First thing Obama does, pretty much that I was paying attention. Now, here's the thing. This is when politics got very interesting to me. I loved politics. In this moment, I couldn't have been more obsessed with it than I was. I was watching every primary debate. I was watching the presidential, vice presidential debates. I was one of my only friends doing that kind of stuff. I voted for Barack Obama, obviously. You know what I mean? You had to. How could you have voted for John McCain? John McCain and Sarah Palin, like, what the hell? That was a joke. And then I think I voted for him again, because how the hell was I going to vote for Mitt Romney? Well, in general, I didn't dislike Obama. I thought he was fine. I definitely thought he was, you know, maybe besides Ronald Reagan, who was like a Hollywood star before he was president, Barack Obama was like the first like celebrity president, you know? Like appearing on late night shows and like reading mean tweets on Jimmy Kimmel and shit. You know, I was like, what is this guy doing? I'm like, you know, the world, like we're just coming out of all these wars. You got places like Russia that don't really like us. You got places like North Korea like testing nukes and stuff. And yeah, like, did he get along with some people like Angela Merkel? And, you know, of course. He got along with plenty of people. but there wasn't, I didn't see any like real change, you know, and maybe that's because it was so hard to come out of what he was in, you know. He had just like realized that there was nothing more that he could do. And I think that that is a huge part of why Donald Trump won the Electoral College, because I think a lot of superdelegates, delegates, the people that really decide these kind of elections, they were ready for somebody to come in and shake things up. If it was bad, all right, it's only 4 years. If it was good, great, you know? And in all credit to the guy, however you feel about him, he literally grew the stock market, the GDP. The economy was booming. He's not lying to you when he says that. You know, we were really cranking. Really, really cranking along. Unemployment was way down. You know, you gotta think the guy, like, he went from a couple years ago, like, tweeting, like, that Kim Jong was a little rocket man, bing bong bing, you know? Calling him short and fat and stuff in tweets. To, like, somehow getting the country to agree to some form of denuclearization, and he was the first sitting president to cross the line of demarcation between the Korean border. The guy has popped off some of the best trade deals with China you've ever seen, ever. I don't know. I'm confused right now in this time. I'm confused because I feel like, what's the best way to put this? I feel like, oh, these are my little trash bags that I use. Reuse your bags, folks, when you go to Publix and stuff. Use these for trash or whatever. Don't just throw them in the garbage can. I just think of like are we the people at the right point anymore where we need to be as a republic? Because we are a democratic republic. Do not get it twisted. Like, we need to be able to make better decisions for ourselves. I hate this idea that all the time you hear like, oh, we need less of the federal government in our lives, less of the federal government in our lives. I want to be able to live my life, you know, free to this, freedom, freedom, freedom. And then, like, all of a sudden, when, like, a pandemic breaks out, like, the government's supposed to take care of you. It's just weird. With freedom comes responsibility. Yeah. Freedom shouldn't come with anything, technically. Like, it's our inalienable right. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those are our freedoms. Tom does Grizzly. Dude, I used to do Grizzly all the time. I used to dip Grizzly when I was playing baseball in high school. Varsity baseball. We were all dipping Grizzly. No such thing as a free lunch. No, but there is such thing as a lunch that you provided for yourself, you know? The government shouldn't have to give you the free lunch. If the pandemic breaks out, you need to be able to go to work and stay healthy somehow. You know, it comes down to the responsibility maybe of the individual. You have responsibilities as an individual to society, to the community that you're in. If you're sick, you stay in your house. If you're asymptomatic and you pass it along, it is what it is. There are people that do that with every fucking disease that ever existed from the beginning of time. It's actually a part of that's how, like, nature protects us from ourselves. The herd mentality. The herd mentality doesn't work because you don't want 2 million people in the United States to die. But if that happened, we would all, like, literally have zero worry about going back to work because we've all been introduced to the virus. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. Like, even when I'm sure you guys all have gone out during this, whether it was once, twice, 100 times. Every time you go out, I'm sure you see there are tons of other people out. Who knows what they did that day? Who knows where they were, what they were doing? It's like, it's as dangerous. If personally, Florida, you know, it's not outbreak here. This is not an outbreak here. It's not like that. And it's not because of social distancing and all that stuff. Believe me. There's no way. No way. I think about that last week, you know? I think about that last week in Disney. There was so many people out and about doing everything. There has been no widespread outbreaks related to anybody being in and around Disney World at all. Very disappointed with the I shouldn't say I'm very disappointed, because honestly, I think that a leader that was less brass and a little less confident in his decision making would keep the country shut down for even longer than it's going to be. So I am happy about that. I'm disappointed in the in people, in their fear, you know? I'm disappointed in people's fear. It makes me far less confident for if anything were to, God forbid, ever really happen. Like, literally, you guys have no idea. Like, as a community, as a nation, as a people, as a world, we literally scuffed our little, like, we scuffed our knee. Like, we barely, like, broke the surface. And we're all freaking out. It's like we all got the littlest cut ever, and we're running to the stores and making sure that we have 1,000 Band-Aids for this one cut. If that's how you reacted to a little cut, how the hell are you going to react to when you get cut, like, wide open? Imagine the bombs dropped. Imagine it. Think about it for a second. The bombs dropped. Things went to shit. They've come close a few times over the past 100 years, just to break it. I hate to break it to you. And they have dropped, just so you know. And then we've been the only country that's ever dropped them. But guess what? They've dropped, okay? Imagine the bombs drop. Chase, thank you for the super sticker. I love that Shiba Inu, man. If the bombs drop and half the population got wiped out, there'd be nothing you could do to avoid that, right? The bombs hit, they hit. It's the world that you have to live in after. It's the idea of like, if you can barely handle a little, like a virus like this that doesn't have the kind of like, I know the mortality rate, according to different people, but even at its highest that I've seen is around 3%. Yeah, radiation's almost like a killer, like undoubtable killer. How would you handle that? Don't go to all the way to the extreme. Go into the middle. You didn't get cut wide open by a knife, and you didn't just brush your knee, but you got a pretty bad cut. You need some stitches or something. It was a bad cut, and it's not going to kill you, but it's a bad cut. That is pretty much like cancer in the United States. The amount of cancer that kills everybody is insane. You don't see anybody putting mass bans on processed foods, cigarettes, or anything else that gives you cancer. I mean, come on now. People have the freedom, the civil liberty to say, hey, if I want to drink a liter of Coca-Cola, eat nothing of McDonald's, smoke a pack a day, and drink 3 pints of coffee, that person has the right to do that. Some people have stories of their grandpa who did that his whole life and he lived till he was 90. Some people kill them before they're fucking 45. But guess what? Those people had the choice to do whatever they did. If I want to take a 3% chance on dying to go to Walt Disney World, that's my right. That's my right. And I get it that companies like that, they're all afraid of these lawsuits. Nobody wants to get their pantsuit off. Which is really a whole nother topic in and of itself, how sue happy the country is. I'm scared for people, man. I'm scared for people because, you know, it was funny to me, and I'm no anthropologist, I'm no sociologist. I am an observer of life, as I've always been. I look at the world with these two eyes wide open. And then sometimes through little tiny pinholes. And that helps me in a lot of ways, believe me. The way that we all reacted to coronavirus, right? The way the cheese balls. I'm officially out of cheese balls. What's up, Craig? How you doing, buddy? I did get TP. I got plenty of TP. The way that we all reacted to this was exactly the same. And you got to hear me out because I know at first it'll sound insane. And again, as like a little clip, if you just took this sentence, it would sound weird and you'd be like, wow, Tom's crazy. Coronavirus and Tiger King have more in common than you could possibly wrap your head around, if you're not looking at it in a wide enough perspective. Let me explain, right? They're both 100% based on the hysteria that they cause. Neither of them are much different than other things in their same category, i.e. Tiger King's certainly not a better show than, say, Breaking Bad or a million other shows. It's not keeping up with our Kardashians, etc. And the coronavirus is not influenza. It's not Ebola. It's different. And there are parts of the world where, trust me, if you get Ebola virus, you're toast, right? It's not SARS, it's not MERS, it's not one of these. It's brand spanking new. Okay. The reason that these two things have so much in common is the hysteria that gets caused. If I say to you, hey, the coronavirus is coming, we should be super scared of it, maybe you listen. If everybody and your mother and their mother say to you, hey, the coronavirus is coming, we should be scared of it, it's different. You're going to listen because everybody's talking about it. It's the same thing with this Tiger King thing. It's like, is it even a good show, worth your time, worth like you even knowing about it? Is it worth your 2 cents? Is it worth that bit of attention that you have to pay on it? Probably not. But the hysteria around it, the fact that everybody's talking about it, the fact that it's Tiger King, Tiger King, Tiger King, Joe Exotic, Carol Baskin, like it's just, it's the same exact thing. And look at how we all reacted to it. We all reacted to the coronavirus and Tiger King in the same exact way within the same week. Hey, we're all going to be now scared as hell of coronavirus and stay inside. Oh, and we're all going to watch this show together because everybody's doing it. It goes back to that old trope that your parents used to say to you. If all your friends were jumping off the bridge, would you? Like today? Yeah. 2020, everybody's jumping off the same bridge. Like looking down at their phones and just jumping off the bridge. It is weird. It's weird. Oh, it's weird. I've never gotten a flu shot. I'll never get a flu shot. It's the flu, man. If I die from the flu, then that was what was meant to happen. I mean, that's the last thing I'm worried about. I'm not worried about getting hit by drunk drivers. I'm not worried about lightning or getting eaten by sharks or... It's just crazy, I'm not afraid of any of that stuff. I'm afraid of death. I'm afraid of dying. But I there are things in my life that I've done that should have killed me 100 times over compared to coronavirus. I went back and I was watching some of my footage. As I was going into Magic Kingdom for the Happily Ever After dessert party, one of the last vlogs, I said viruses, one of the last vlogs I shot, I was going in and there was that lady with the big hand sanitizer pumping it out for everybody. And like I filmed it and she laughed and she was like, do you want some? And clear as day, I'm like, nah, it's all good. I'm not worried about this coronavirus stuff. And that's what I was saying the entire time. So I'm going to stick right with what I was saying. You can't change like the way you think because of anything. Like unless you're presented with a totally different perspective on something, you should probably stick with like the way you observed it initially, if that makes any sense. So for me, what that means is that if the whole time the coronavirus was killing people in China, killing people in Europe, killing people in even here in the United States, I'm on my YouTube channel live with 100, 200 people watching like, hey, you know what? If I get coronavirus, it'll be the best thing that ever happened to this channel. I said that 100 times, I think I said it, in the course from November, when these people, like some people from China, etc., started getting on my chat and saying like, hey, are you worried about coronavirus, this and that? I am going to stick with the same shit I said that day. I am no more afraid or less afraid. I know what the coronavirus is. I've seen how it kills per capita. I understand the disease. What the hell else is there to know? Getting coronavirus, there's less than 500 people in Florida who have died from coronavirus. If I was one of those 500 people, I'd pretty much have to accept the destiny, the fate of that. You know what I mean? Because if not, I'd sit in my house for the rest of my life. I'd set up my computer and I'd start gaming. 570. So there you go. Less than 600 people. Like, There would literally have to be 1 million people that died for me to be like, whoa, I'm scared. Like, because it's not, because then you're talking like you have a high chance. That means that means the shit has gone south. The reason that the deaths are as low as they are is because of how prepared the country was. The country was so prepared. Do not let anybody tell you any differently. It is pure and utter bullshit. I'm pissed off. I'm sick of it. You know, I'm sick of this shit. I should not be sitting around my house every single day, like waiting for the president to be like, time for Disney World to open back up. You know what I mean? I should not have to do this. I should have been able to stay the entire time. And if there were workers who were afraid, like, how are the Disney workers less afraid or more afraid than the lady that bagged my groceries today? The lady that bagged my groceries today, she looked like she was maybe like approaching her 70s. No, actually, menu, I said the exact opposite there. I think that we were extremely prepared, and that's why we've come that's why we've handled this so well, and you've seen the number of recoveries compared to deaths. Like, it's an astonishing number. In a place like New York, the Javits Center at one point, I think the most filled that it was 60%. The USS Comfort wasn't even really needed. It's the preparedness was certainly there. And I want you to put that into perspective. Before and again, the World Health Organization, the CDC, you know, you can feel however you want about these types of organizations, right? Before any of this happened, they did, like, you know, I don't know what the word for it is, but they were bipartisan, if you want to call it that. An examination of each country's preparedness to handle an epidemic. Out of 100%, the United States scored an 88. Again, never being able to get the real numbers out of China and seeing the way that bodies piled up. And I get it. That happened a little bit in New York. There were food trucks. They were not food trucks. Well, they are food trucks that were turned into temporary morgues outside of hospitals. I get it. It was not good. But anybody that got a ventilator, anybody that needed a ventilator got a ventilator. Anybody that needed a hospital bed got a hospital bed. Death is something I think about all the time. If I'm going to be real with you, no. August, that's hilarious, Carl. There's absolutely zero chance that Disney is closed past June 1st, and I would say that there's something close to about 60 to 70% likelihood that it's open May 3rd. And that will certainly depend on what the president has to say over the next few days as far as what the government's doing and, yeah, as far as reopening the country. Death is something I think about all the time. It's something that you should think about all the time. And here's why. Because you only get one life. You don't get to respawn. There's no... If you believe in reincarnation, if you have a soul and you think you go, whatever, that's good. It's all good. I'm not going to debate philosophy or religion with anybody. You're entitled to believe in whatever you believe in. But the reality is that you've got a finite amount of time in that body as you are. Okay? There should be some things that you never do because of fear of dying. For example, for me, I think that although I know it's thrilling and very few people ever have really perished from it, I wouldn't skydive and I wouldn't go dive with sharks. Two things off the top of my head that I just wouldn't do. Because there's just this weird off chance that, hey, maybe. And it's not something that I don't know. Maybe there are some people who feel that way about coronavirus. You know, it's going to scare them so much that they would not go back into public places before a vaccine was made available. Seeing a lot of talk of Bob Iger. Bob Iger's a great guy. He's a great CEO, but at the end of the day, I really don't know. Bob Chapek has always been head of the parks. I don't think there's anybody that's really, better or worse for this particular job that's about to happen. So from top to bottom, from your work to the military, from where you work, whether it's literally Burger King all the way up to the United States military and everywhere in between, there is an ability to run just about anything with a full or half or even skeleton crew. There doesn't have to be the amount of people you think need to be in Walt Disney World to run Walt Disney World. It doesn't work like that. Just like it doesn't work in your job. Think about your job, whatever it is. There have been days where somebody called out and you had to pick up the slack and you made it work. There are days when two people called out and you had to. I've had days where I was the only dude that showed up, and there were supposed to be 4 or 5 of us. You do what you have to do. You close a certain section of this thing so that you only have to deal with X amount of... You do what you need to do. So I think that as long as whoever's in charge of getting Disney reopened knows that and understands that, we'll be good. We'll be good. Yeah, there may be low crowds. I don't know. I think if you were to take the last week as any indication, it's going to be, definitely still at that 7 out of 10 level of busy. Fired up. I think AMC, what do I think? Well, I think that they're the least likely from what I've researched to be able to get out of this. And that most likely that I would almost put 100% of surety on the AMC in Disney Springs does not reopen. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it does. But I just don't know. You'll be good, Disney Nerd Herders, for August. The parks are 100% open by June 1st. Just so everybody knows. There is not a scenario where Disney's not open by June 1st. And you can take that to the bank in whatever kind of way you want. If you ever believed anything I ever said on this channel, there is 0 chance that Disney's closed past the 1st of June. I think you'll see strict health implications, such as masks. I think you'll need to have a mask on. at least at first. Although I have no idea how you enforce that kind of a thing in terms of people actually wearing them. My thing with Universal, I'm very confused as to why Universal went with the, because, so here's the thing, is there's a possibility. So here's what you got to remember. Japan, Shanghai, all these places, they don't, I get, what's the best way to say this? They don't have, Donald Trump is not the leader of those countries. He's not as anxious to get this country back to work. They are not as anxious as he is to get this country back to work. We're all going to look back at this as such a weird time. You know? We're going to remember this as a time when, like, for me personally, I'm coming back to the parks with, like, straight vengeance, you know? I have, if the parks reopen on June 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, I have 3 deluxe resorts booked, ready to rock. 24-hour stream on the 1st. I might do a 72-hour stream and just stream the whole 3 days. Like, I'm going to be coming back with such vengeance. Like, the more I think about full-time YouTube, you know, the better. Yeah, well, no, it's going to be open. That's why I booked for those dates. I literally just booked those dates last week. Yeah, good. I'm so happy to hear that. I'm so happy to hear that. He gets blamed for everything, so... Honestly, I think that we all just need to be ready for the resurgence, and I hope that we all handle it differently, you know? Thank you, JK. I appreciate that, man. I feel like it would just be a better hit for me. I'd be able to focus more, and, like, the more we can grow numbers, you know, on the channel, the better. Like, the last few streams we were doing, we had 200 people watching at one point. Like, those were... They were really kind of firing on all cylinders. And that's for everybody, you know. I think Aaron had a crazy stream. You know, Aaron had like 500-600 people watching. Tanya got up close to 1,000, maybe more. Like, there was... I feel bad for those guys, too. I'm sure that they're bummed, you know. I'm sure that they're as bummed as I am. I've been talking to some creators, different creators. Everybody's ready to get back to the parks, you know. They were. Yeah, I saw that. That's good, guys. I'm happy. This is kind of why I was so anxious to watch today, because I had a feeling that that was coming today, that we were going to start reopening a little bit. So, yeah. But I don't know how long I'm going to stream tonight, guys. I knew I was going to kind of go off for like at least an hour, which I did, Bill Burr style. Like, I'm just on fire, pissed off. So I want to kind of watch the president. I don't want to be too far behind on what's going on. You know, like, I'll stream for a little bit. If anybody hasn't hit the like button, that would really mean a lot to me. If we can get up to like 50 likes on this video before I end it, that would be really cool. I want to say thanks to Chase for that $20 super chat, super sticker. That means a lot to me. I did not eat my salad. No, today, so far, I've eaten half a bag of pistachio nuts and some buffalo chicken. Not exactly the most, I guess it's not terrible. Protein and protein. As I've said from the jump, I think thank you for the 50 likes, everybody. I think it's very important to just continue to focus on the numbers in New York, to continue to look at I think it's good to continue to look at New York. I think it's good to continue to look at whether other hotspots pop up. And it's good to remember, guys, that whether social distancing ends today, or whether it ends in June, or whether it ends in July or August, which obviously it's not, according to the president, that it's only so effective. Just remember that, guys. Social distancing it's incredibly effective, but only to a certain extent. Once we all get back out of the house, in whatever shape or form that is, there's going to be a possibility. And it's not something that you should be overly worried about. I hope that you guys personally begin to feel a little bit more confident if you're not confident with going outside of your house and getting back to normal. Oh, God. Christine, always Disney dreaming. I think if you were to think about Florida, remember that Miami exploded in the beginning of this. It could have been New York. And it was well contained. It was handled well. And although the numbers, you'll begin to see the plateauing nationwide. No, I didn't reserve the rooms. Well, I guess technically I did. I mean, they're my DVC, but I bought them. The rooms are paid for. And they should, they should be fine. I'm sure that they're really, I don't know, guys. I mean, obviously, in the next few weeks, we're going to have a lot more to go on as we continue to see how the country reopens back up. I think right now, actually, it's 7 o'clock. It's probably a little bit past 7 o'clock. Make sure, you guys are watching Tanya tonight. I think she starts at 8. She's going to be on there tonight with Rachel from This Life of Ours. Rachel and June are very cool people. Great creators, really, really funny people. I'm going to go... I'm going to go watch the president speak a little bit about this stuff. I do want to continue to say, I don't want to harp on it, guys. I don't want to bum anybody out. I don't know why I said that. That's just how I feel. I feel like I bummed everybody out tonight. But if you want to have fun and you want to laugh and you want me in much different spirits, make sure you guys jump over to the gaming channel. It's Tom Does Video Games. Go subscribe and hit the bell. That way you know when I go live, because I've been going live playing Assassin's Creed, which has been a super fun game. Really, really, really cool. We've been having so much fun. Not a lot of people on there typically, but the people that do watch, we've been having a lot of fun. So I just really hope to see more of you guys on there. That would mean a lot to me. It really would. So if you subscribe and you hit the bell, you'll definitely know when I'm live. I'll probably end up going live a little bit today even. Maybe now-ish. So, but yeah, I'm going to watch a little bit of this and yeah. I'll pump out a vlog for this week, guys. Thursday into Friday. I'm going to do a poll on my Instagram as well. Thursday or Friday, which of the 2 days we should start doing this. I don't want anybody breaking the rules of the world, but I'm pretty sure that if you go onto the internet, you can find these movies for download somewhere. And if you want to buy them, you can probably get them in on Amazon within the next 48 hours. So if you're dedicated and you want to jump in, Aaron is doing a live stream right now. What? Okay, well, guys, there you go. That's a perfect excuse for me to stop. Make sure you jump over to Aaron's channel, My Disney World Fix, and say Tom sent us over from the end of his stream. I fucking love you guys. Much appreciated. Thanks for letting me go off a little bit. And Corey's live too at Living in Diz. So go say hi to all those guys. Say Tom sent you. And yeah. Much love, y'all. We'll see you in the next few days. Cheers. Peace.